As a player and coach from Fiji, William O'Connell has his hands full during the 2022 Pacific Mini-Games here in the Marianas.
They say I was born with a racket in my hand just because my dad's work was in tennis. He oversaw the development of tennis in the Pacific for about 20 years.
O'Connell is living fully in the present, working as a coach now in Raleigh, North Carolina, but an incident from 5 years ago is part of his past, and while he says he feels the story has been in a sense beaten to death, he graciously recounts those events.
I was out celebrating the end of semester and went to bed at about 3 a.m. In my friend's living residence and woke up around 5:45 to a lot of heat. There was a fire in the room with me, and I woke up maybe 5 to 8 minutes into the fire alarm. After the fact, they said I should have died because of smoke inhalation, being in the room with it, in a closed room with the fire. But managed to roll out of bed, bang on a window. I tried to break the window and jump out, but didn't have the strength to do it. And so I crawled towards where I thought the door was, taking in a lot of smoke, and I got to about maybe 1.5 meters away from the door and thought, this is the end. But luckily, my noise alerted the people that were already downstairs, and one of my buddies that I was going to school with in the UK, he ran up and 3 times tried to get in. The first 2 times there was too much smoke, and so he had to run back out. And on the 3rd time he got pretty close, and he had I think a makeshift fan, and was able to kind of get into the room that I was in and kind of fan the smoke away a little bit, enough to see my hand. And I remember his name was Jacob. I remember him calling my name, and I reached out to him, and he grabbed me, pulled me out, and then 2 other guys carried me down the stairs, and I waited for what felt like an eternity for the fire department to arrive, or the ambulance to arrive.
A week later, he woke up with his mom and dad by his side, nearly 40% of his body burned, a large percentage of which were 3rd-degree burns. Expected to be hospitalized for 2 to 3 months, O'Connell was out in 2.5 weeks, determined to see his friend play in a tennis tournament.
All along this recovery process, tennis was my motivation to take the next step forward in my recovery. Whether it was getting out so I could watch my buddy Sam Groth play in the Nottingham professional event, and then also 7 months later, I was in the Pacific in Vanuatu playing the mini games in December, and tennis again was the fuel for that. And so I believe that tennis has the ability to teach life values, and I believe that I wouldn't have come through my circumstances without tennis.
There is not a whiff of victimhood when you speak to O'Connell. He presents a grounded energy, focused on the matches ahead for him and his team.
Life is going to smack everybody.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's in my situation, it was either be a victim and maybe cry and say woe is me and life sucks and stuff, or you climb out of it and you try to be better because of it, or in spite of it.
Sitting from his vantage point this week during the games, he says he feels happy for Pacific tennis.
These games do a wonderful job of just bringing the tennis community together, and these relations. It's a reunion as much as it is a tennis tournament.
O'Connell is taking the good and the bad from the past and imparting his knowledge, both on and off the courts, to the future players here in the Pacific and beyond.
It's always been a part of my life, and so now I coach tennis, and I want to share the character development stuff that I think tennis can help instill. Tennis teaches you to deal with adversity. It builds confidence. It teaches you respect. It teaches you to deal with people from different countries, different parts of the world.